Alania was a medieval kingdom of the Iranian Alans that flourished in the Northern Caucasus, roughly in the location of latter-day Circassia and modern North Ossetia. Alania, for the 8th and 9th century until its destruction by the Mongol invasion in 1238–39. Its capital was Maghas, and it controlled a vital trade route through the Darial Pass. History. The Alans originated as an Iranian-speaking subdivision of the Sarmatians. They were split by the invasion of the Huns into two parts, the European and the Caucasian. The Caucasian Alans occupied part of the North Caucasian plain and the foothills of the main mountain chain from the headwaters of the Kuban River, in the west to the Darial Gorge in the east. Invasions by the Caliphate. Alania was an important buffer state during the Byzantine Arab Wars and Khazar Arab Wars of the 8th century. Theophanes the Confessor left a detailed account of Leo the Isaurian's mission to Alania in the early 8th century. Leo was instructed by Emperor Justinian II to bribe the Alan leader Artaxerxes into severing his ancient friendship with the kingdom of Abkhazia, which had allied itself with Caliph al-Walid I. He crossed the mountain passes and concluded an alliance with the Alans, but was prevented from returning to Byzantium through Abashgia. Although the Abkhazians spared no expense to have him imprisoned, the Alans refused to convey the Byzantine envoy to his enemies. After several months of adventures in the Northern Caucasus, Leo extricated himself from the precarious situation and returned to Constantinople. After Leo assumed the imperial title, the land of his mountaineer allies was invaded by Umar II's forces. A Khazar chieftain, Bajik, hastened to the succor and, in 722, the joint Alan-Khazar army inflicted a defeat on the Arab general Tabat al-Nurani. The Khazars erected Schema and several other strongholds in Alania at this period. In 728 Maslama ibn Abd al-Malik, having penetrated the gate of the Alans, devastated the country of the Alans. 8 years later, Marwan ibn Muhammad passed by the gate in order to ravage the forts in Alania. In 758, as Ibn al-Fakir reports, the gate was held by another Arab general, Yazid ibn Usayd. Alliance with Khazaria as a result of the united stand against the successive waves of invaders from the south. The Alans of the Caucasus fell under the overlordship of the Khazar Khaganate. They remained staunch allies of the Khazars in the 9th century, supporting them against Byzantine-led coalition during the reign of the Khazar king Benjamin. According to the anonymous author of the Shekhter letter, many Alans were during this period adherents of Judaism. However, in the early 10th century, the Alans fell under the influence of the Byzantine Empire, possibly due to the conversion of the ruler to Christianity. The conversion is documented in the letters of Patriarch Nicholas Mysticus to the local archbishop, whose name was Peter. When Ibn Rusta visited Alania at some point between 903 and 913, its king was by then Christian. The Persian traveler came to Alania from Sara, a Christian kingdom immediately to the east. You go to the left from the kingdom of Sara and, after 3 days of journey through mountains and meadows, arrive in the kingdom of Alan. The king is Christian at heart, but all his people are idolaters. Then you travel for 10 days among rivers and woods before arriving at a fortress called the Gate of the Alans. It stands on the top of a mountain at the foot of which there is a road. High mountains surrounded on 1,000 men from among its inhabitants guard its walls day and night. The Byzantines, who had adopted an anti-Khazar foreign policy, involved the Alans in a war against the Khaganate during the reign of the Khazar ruler Aran II, probably the early 920s. In this war the Alans were defeated and the king captured. According to Muslim sources, sources such as al-Masudi, the Alans abandoned Christianity and expelled the Byzantine missionaries and clergy roughly contemporaneously with these events. Aaron's son married the daughter of the Alan king, and Alania was realigned with the Khazars, remaining so until the collapse of the Khaganate in the 960s. Later history. After the downfall of Khazaria, the Alan kings frequently allied with the Byzantines and various Georgian rulers for protection against encroachments by northern steppe peoples, such as the Pechenegs and Kipchaks. John Skylitzes reports that Alda of Alania, after the death of her husband, George of Abashgia, received Anarchopia as a maritime fief from Emperor Romanus III. This happened in 1033, the year when the Alans and the Rus sacked the coast of Shevan in modern-day Azerbaijan. Alania is not mentioned in East Slavic chronicles, but archaeology indicates that the Alans maintained trade contacts with the Rus Principality of Tutarakhan. There is a stone grave crossed with a Cyrillic inscription from 1041, standing on the bank of the Bolshoi-Yegorlik River in present-day Stavropol Krai, immediately north of Alania. Two Russian crosses, datable to California, 1200, were discovered by archaeologists in Arkis, the heartland of medieval Alania. The Alans and Georgians probably collaborated in the Christianization of the Vaniks and Devals in the 12th and 13th centuries. Georgian missionaries were active in Alania, and the Alan contingents were frequently employed by the Georgian monarchs against the Muslim neighbors. The Alanian-Georgian alliance was cemented in the 1060s, when the Alans struck across Muslim Iran and sacked Ganja. In the 1120s, King David the Builder of Georgia visited the Darial to reconcile the Alans with the Kipchaks, who thereupon were allowed to pass through Alania to the Georgian soil. David's son, Dmitri I, also journeyed, c. 1153, to Alania accompanied by the Arab historian Nibon al-Azraq. The alliance culminated in 1187, when the Alanian prince David Soslan married Queen Tamar of Georgia, with the descendants ruling Georgia until the 19th century. The medieval Alanian princesses also married Byzantine and Russian Rurikid rulers more than once. For instance, Maria the Ossetian, who founded the convent of princesses in Vladimir, was the wife of Vsevolod the Bignest and grandmother of Alexander Nevsky. In the late 1230s, all three Christian powers, Alania, Georgia, and Vladimir Suzdal, fell before the Mongol invaders. Bishop Theodore of Alania described the plight of his metropolis in a lengthy epistolary sermon written during the tenure of Patriarch Germanus II. The wars of Timur in the 14th century inflicted the final blow on Alania and decimated its population. Those who survived being killed or enslaved by the Mongols and Timur's armies broke up into three groups. One retreated into the foothills and valleys of the Central Caucasus and produced the two principal Ossetian groups, Digar and Iron. Another group of Alans migrated with the Kipchaks into Eastern Europe and preserved the language and ethnic identity as the Jassic people until the 15th century. The third group joined the Mongol horde and soon disappeared from history. Legacy. In the last years of the Soviet Union, as nationalist movements swept throughout the Caucasus, many intellectuals in the North Ossetian ASSR called for the revival of the name Alania. A leading Ossetian philologist, T.A. Guriev, was the main advocate of this idea, insisting that the Ossetians should accept the name of the Alans as the self-designation and rename North Ossetia into Alania. The term Alania quickly became popular in Ossetian daily life through the names of various enterprises, a TV channel, political and civic organizations, a publishing house, a soccer team, an airline company, etc. In November 1994, the name of Alania was officially added to the Republican title.